Ariel Helwani in New York City gearing up for Bellator 180 alongside undefeated boxing sensation Heather Hardy, who will be making her Bellator MMA debut this Saturday at Madison Square Garden against the soccer mom, Alice Yager. Did you know that was her nickname?
Someone said it to me, and I was like, "What?" I thought they were calling me the soccer mom,
Oh.
and they were like, "No, that's her name."
Is that a little strange? Like, I feel like no one wants to beat up a soccer mom.
I don't mind.
Okay. Has anyone ever called you a soccer mom? I don't think anyone would be the.
No.
I know
No,
you do have a
I
child
do have a
who's
kid, but
old in her
I'm more
teens.
like a soccer dad because I'm
Okay.
like a single mom. So my sister's like the soccer mom. So I'm
Okay.
like the soccer dad.
Well, this is very exciting to see someone of your stature come over from boxing to MMA, and I know that you've kind of dabbled with this idea in the past. You were supposed to fight for Invicta earlier this year, but you didn't. I know your opponent fell through. Why did you not eventually fight for them, and how did you end up here in Bellator?
Well, after my training camp for Invicta called and offered me a fight. I didn't go out and look for it. After the opponent fell through and I realized that I wasn't going to fight, how much money I invested in the training and that it all went for nothing, I was like, oh my God, I can't keep doing this. You know, like if something comes up, something comes up. Otherwise, I have to just chill out. I had a boxing match coming up in April, so I kind of focused on the boxing. And it was right after that Bellator offered me this fight, and I was like, could offer me a thumb wrestling match in the garden, I would do it.
Yeah, you've competed at Barclays, never the Garden. Of course, you're from Brooklyn, so this is a very, very big deal for you, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, Madison Square Garden is like the initial fight mecca of the world. That's where Muhammad Ali fought, where Billy Joel plays his piano. I mean,
That is incredible. So when you got this offer, was it just a one-fight deal, or is it open-ended? How does this work?
no, I don't plan on going anywhere. But because I'm promoted with Lou DiBella and my boxing, this will be like the first kind of two-sport co-promoted athlete.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm not like just a boxer. I'm under promotional contract with Lou, and he is working things out legally with Bellator now so that this can happen.
Now, I've heard you say in interviews that you're not leaving boxing. This is not your transition out of boxing. You're still going to box. And I've also seen you say that, you want to make money and it's kind of been a little slow. I believe you're 35 at this point, right? So, I mean, it's very rare to hear someone say, I'm not making money in boxing and go to MMA. Usually it's the opposite. Why have you had trouble making that kind of money, that good money in boxing?
Well, I think because number one, a lot of MMA fighters are going over to boxing because when you get to the highest level of boxing, like the Floyd Mayweather, those guys are making a lot more than the guys in MMA. But as far as how the money is spread out, it's spread out way better. And I mean, in boxing, there are so many boxers who are working full-time jobs, school teachers and police officers, at the same time doing their fight careers. For me to switch over is because there really isn't a lot of opportunities for women. I'm a 2-division champion, 20-0, selling close to $40,000 in tickets myself for my fights, and I'm finding trouble getting television time because networks don't want to televise female fights.
Why do you think women's MMA is so much more popular than women's boxing? It has completely surpassed it. And yes, we've had the Ronda Rouseys of the world, but it just feels like the UFC could put on, a card with women in the main event, co-main event, and no one bats an eye. But in boxing, it's viewed a little differently. Why do you think that is?
I think MMA is so much more evolved than boxing. Like, you hate to say Ronda Rousey because there were tons of talented women before her, but she's like the most notable. And Dana White took a chance and put her on a tremendous card and pretty much said, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And people loved her. And I've been saying in boxing, like, I just boxed on the Thurman Garcia card. And I'm like, why not put Heather Hardy on TV? Do you think people will turn their televisions off? Like, somebody needs to take initiative to make a change. Like, that's what they did in MMA. And women are seen as athletes, not women. You don't hear guys, like, you can watch MMA fights with guys and you're not hearing people say, oh, they're so hot, look at her legs. But they're talking about her roundhouse kicks and her body shots. I mean, it's just so much more evolved.
One theory that I've heard, and I wonder if you subscribe to this, is that women's MMA is just more appealing to the eye than women's boxing. In women's boxing, you've got the big gloves and the bigger shorts. Women's MMA, you're wearing small, gloves. Maybe the attire is a little more flattering. There's grappling involved and things like that. Do you feel like there's anything to that the viewing public is just more inclined to gravitate towards that as opposed to women's boxing?
I don't think so because I think that in general. There are more MMA fans than boxing fans. Okay. So, of course, there are more female MMA fans of the females in MMA than in boxing. but there are no fans of women's boxing because
Yeah.
we're being hidden.
Okay.
So at least bring us up.
Yeah.
Bring us up to the level as the men. Tell me why I am barely making $10,000 a fight to
Crazy.
fight for my titles, right?
That's what it
Everybody
is.
know my name.
Are you making more for this fight than you? Wow.
So my debut with Bellator will be more than any fight I've ever made in boxing.
So why even go back?
I love it.
Okay.
I love boxing.
Does it kind of hurt you? Are you doing this under duress? Do you not want to do this? Would you prefer to be a full-time boxer?
No, I mean, actually, in the beginning, I was like, I don't know, we'll just try it, we'll see what happens. But now I love it.
Okay.
I found out that I'm just really good at fighting.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
What about the ground game?
I'm getting better, and I'm
Okay.
starting to like it.
Okay.
Like, I'm working with Daniel Gracie, and, you know, the Gracies are always like, don't abandon your jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I was like, but I want to.
But like takedowns, wrestling things, are you comfortable if the fight goes there?
I so am.
Okay.
You know, and it was like halfway through my training camp, one of my coaches, Coach Nick, was like, just stop trying to do all the things we showed you and just do what happens. And then I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Got it. and everything just clicked.
So you are perhaps the most famous female boxer to come over to MMA since, of course, Holly Holm. Holly just won, got back on track. She was involved in one of the most famous moments in the history of the sport when she knocked out Ronda Rousey. Is this someone that you look up to? Do you want to emulate her career, her path, or is she not one of those for you?
Oh, you know what? I respect all fighters. I would never say I don't respect or don't look up to any fighters, particularly MMA fighters. After this camp, man, y'all, you the real champs.
Yeah.
Because this was the hardest camp of my life.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, these people do this all the time. So of course I respect her, but I'm not a boxer like Holly was. So for me to say I want to emulate her or her career, it's not my style. You know, do I want to be a champion? Yes.
Sure.
Do I want to be as popular as her? Yes, I sure do. But I don't really say look up to anyone in particular as much as I just want to be. I want to do what I did in boxing here.
Yep. Every time you do an interview, it seems, and I've read a lot of them, people ask you about your past, what you've been through. You're a victim of rape. Is that tough for you to talk about? Like every single moment, you have to kind of rehash that story, and I know the wound is still very much there. Would you prefer people stop asking you about that?
Well, it's not that I prefer to talk about it or not to talk about it, but my decision to come and talk about it at first came because one of the biggest stigmas that's attached to sexual assault, violence, domestic violence is women feel very ashamed and isolated and alone, and you feel like as if it happened to you because you were bad. And I think it's anyone in a position to speak, who has a microphone, who has a platform, to say, you're not alone, because it happened to me, and look, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, I know what you're going through, and it's not your fault. You're not by yourself. And I think that's a powerful message.
Is that why you became a fighter?
No,
Okay.
because, you know, people ask me that a lot, and I don't think that fighting makes you feel like they say, oh, did you do that for self-defense? Like, no. If anything, fighting gave me a confidence to see I can make it through anything. I've been, you know, in situations where I've had to fight for my life before. So when I look at some 125-pound girl who's standing in front of me, I'm like, you.
I would be remiss before I let you go if I don't ask you about Conor McGregor fighting Floyd Mayweather. You're doing the opposite. It sounds from that reaction that you are not a fan of this endeavor.
No,
Is that
I think
accurate?
I think it's great for media.
Okay.
This is theater. This is.
What about for the sport of boxing?
Who cares? It's not boxing.
It's not boxing. What is it? It's a boxing match.
People are like, this is terrible for boxing. Who gives a shit?
Okay.
It's gonna
Will
be
you watch it?
fun. Will I pay for it? No, but I'll go to someone's house and watch it.
Do you think it's a disgrace, that he could be 50-0, that he's fighting a guy that the commission sanctioned it? You have no issues with it, basically.
No, I mean, look, if someone's gonna offer you that kind of money, are you gonna do it? Leave the guy alone. He earned that right.
Sure.
He's 49-0, so he earned the right to fight whoever he wants. If he wants to fight me, let's go, baby.
Does Conor have a chance?
Not a snowball's chance in hell.
Will he land a punch?
Probably not.
A one punch?
I don't think so.
A jab?
No, I don't see it.
Really?
I
So
don't.
do you think Floyd knocks him out?
I don't know if he wants to. He might want to play with him for 12 rounds and put on a sparring session.
So this will be a pure skunk, like 12 rounds to none, and CompuBox will say 150 punches to 0 is what you're predicting.
Perhaps.
Wow. So then afterwards, is that bad?
Nothing to take away from Conor
Sure.
McGregor. Clearly, he is an incredible athlete. And if Floyd Mayweather was to go inside a cage, he would get his ass tore up in 40 seconds because boxing to MMA is no joke.
Yeah.
But boxing in MMA is not boxing.
Right, okay.
punching in MMA is not boxing. And I've made that transition to go from what I know to what works in a cage, and what works in the cage does not work in the ring. And when you're talking about somebody who is the greatest boxer ever, literally, Canelo couldn't beat him, Cotto couldn't beat him, nobody could beat this guy. You're gonna put in somebody who ain't never done this before?
By the way, you're sitting right next to his good friend and training partner over there, so don't talk too loudly, all right? They have this sort of confidence. It's a weird thing, these
I
Irishmen.
think it's great. I think it's great. In a bar fight, he might win. But I'm just saying, in the rules of boxing, man, this is a dance. Boxing's a dance. Boxing ain't a fight.
James,
Don't
oh, he
tell
walked
him.
away. I was
Don't
going to
tell
tell him. I was going to put him on the spot, but I don't want that. So I will leave it at that. Heather, best of luck to you. Really looking forward to this. Good luck in the fight.
Thank you so much.